Then breathe it in through your nose. Pause at the top and sigh out through your mouth. Releasing anything from the day that maybe was stressful or maybe was exciting. Whatever happened during the day, we're just kind of releasing that and leaning back into the support of the group, the support of the meditation. And you can breathe in again through your nose. Pause at the top and sigh out through your mouth. And let me close the window so it's a little bit quieter in here. Let's do it one more time. In through your nose. Pause at the top and out through your mouth. Now we can start to think a little bit about this abundance that we have, that Josie kind of made us mindful of at the beginning. And I want you to start to think of all the things that are abundant in your life. And I don't want you to just list them, but I really want you to feel the availability of this abundance. So really feel into it. You can romanticize it if you want. I would say that a lot of times we lean away from romanticization of things. But let's just romanticize the abundance that we have in our lives right now and really allow ourselves to feel viscerally that abundance. So maybe you want to focus in on abundant love, and how does that show up in your life? Maybe it's the embrace of your partner or a friend. Maybe it's a kind message from a faraway friend or family member. Maybe it's the giggle of your child or your cousin or your niece or nephew or a child in your life. Or maybe it's the laugh of a friend when you make them laugh. Maybe you can think back to your birthday this year and think about all of the kind messages of love from people you know and people you might not know as well. You can think about all of the love at all points in time that you've been able to receive. You can even think about the love of, maybe someone saying hi to you on the street or smiling at you. Think about all the little ways that people have shown you love. Or you can also start to think about the different ways that people show each other love. It doesn't even necessarily have to be toward you. And just feel into that sense of love. And then you can start to feel into an abundance of opportunities. Maybe you've had some really overtly positive opportunities come your way in the last few months. Maybe you've been able to have opportunities that didn't seem positive at first, but that you found were a positive experience for you or a positive invitation for you. You can also feel into abundant pleasure. So think about the things that bring you pleasure and really feel into how much pleasure you can get out of the little things in your day. Maybe it's with a bath. Maybe it is the smell of essential oils. Maybe it's a bite of a plum that's local and in season right now. Maybe it's the the feeling of cool water, going for a swim on a hot day. Maybe it is the taste of your favorite dessert. Maybe it is the feeling of self-massage with oil massage on your body, or a massage from someone else. Just really feel into the abundance of pleasure that you might have. And then feel into the abundance of possibility. We've got a lot going on in the world right now. But we've also got a lot of possibility for the future. And a lot of people who are working toward that possibility. So can you really feel into the emotion of possibility? Right? A lot of times we don't necessarily think of that as being an emotion. You can even feel into how that feels in your body. Maybe it's an expansiveness in your chest, or maybe it is a feeling of grounding, of letting go of tension somewhere in your body. Maybe you're in your shoulders or your tongue or your forehead. And you can also start to sense into the abundance of time that you might have, especially during quarantine. Some of us have more of an abundance of time than we know what to do with. But how can you really make that into a positive experience? What kind of time do you have? What kind of time have you created for yourself? Maybe you're starting your day with more intentionality, and that has created more time for you. And can you really feel into that abundance of time? Maybe you've found that you've taken it even a step further, and you really do feel like you have control over how you're spending your time. And if you don't, that's okay too. Just think about the little moments of where you do have control over your time. And you can start to think about the abundance of health that you have. So, we all have different health challenges, but let's start to think about the health that we do have. Maybe you find that you're able to move your body in the ways that bring you joy. Maybe you find that you're able to feel into your intuition on what kinds of foods would feel really good in your body. Where else can you feel into the health of your body? Maybe you're able to hydrate and eliminate first thing in the morning, and that is part of your abundance of health. Maybe you're starting to relish in the joy of waking up in the morning and not feeling exhausted. Maybe that's part of your health. And you can feel into any other ways that you find health. Right? Health is not necessarily the absence of disease, but rather it is that feeling of feeling really good in your body and in your mind. And we all have aspects of this, right? Even when we have a lot of things going on that aren't feeling really good, there are some little pieces that we can start to acknowledge. And maybe you want to feel into the abundance of forgiveness. Right? We can feel into any forgiveness that we want to give anyone, anything, ourselves. Forgiveness is abundant, and forgiveness is for us, not for the other person. And we can really feel into the ability to forgive. Maybe we can feel into our creativity as well, and the abundance of creativity that we have. Maybe you don't think of yourself necessarily as a creative person, but we all have creative abilities within us. And so you can start to acknowledge those creative tendencies that you might have. Maybe it's in parenting a child. Maybe it's in a piece of art. Maybe it is in your career. Maybe it's in writing, or maybe it is in being able to facilitate a conversation. Maybe you're creative in that way. And then you can also think about what budding creativity you might have, what desire for creativity you might have that feels like it could be abundant for you. And then at the end of the quote that Josie read earlier, talks about letting the acknowledgement of abundance that's all around us, letting that awaken us to the dormant abundance within us. So we've got all of these abundant things out in the world, and how can we then use that abundance to awaken the abundance within us and let it flow out of us as well? Maybe that looks like smiling at a stranger, like Eckhart said in that quote. Maybe it looks like saying hello to someone that you pass on the street. Maybe it looks like sending your friend a text just to tell them that you're thinking about them and that you love them. Or a family member, giving your mom a call and telling her how much you love her. Or your dad for Father's Day, belated Father's Day. Maybe a sibling. And really feel how that actually feels when you provide abundance for someone else. Don't just list it, but rather feel what happens in your body. Does your heart swell? Do your hands get tingly? Do you feel more at ease? Do you feel less tension? Does it feel like you have any sort of buzziness or headiness? That's okay too. Maybe you have a little bit of tension. You can just feel into what it feels like to provide abundance, to contribute to the abundance of the world. And maybe your contribution to abundance is planting a seed, gardening. And how does that feel in your body when you are able to do that? Maybe it's just starting to notice all of the beauty around you. The flowers around you. Maybe it's taking pictures to be able to show with other people. And that brings you joy as well. Maybe you're able to provide abundance by planning a surprise for someone, or sending them a gift, or a letter, donating to a cause, volunteering with a cause. And when we actually feel into the abundance of this, when we feel into our feelings when we're able to do this, it creates so much more joy in our lives. So